Silence, my constant companion, man of thoughts, they call me. Ironic, isn't it? Thoughts are often the loudest when you crave quiet. But then she entered, shattering the silence like a pane of glass. Not unpleasant at first. More like the crash heralded something interesting. Her laughter was a melody. Her eyes held a universe. She was everything I thought I desired, a burst of color in my grayscale world. She called me her muse, her words a soothing balm on my introverted soul. Little did I know I was dancing to the rhythm of a siren's song, and the ocean depths were waiting to swallow me whole. Her attention was intoxicating, a magnetic pull that I couldn't resist. Every word felt like a whispered secret, a private world shared only between us, every glance a stolen moment, a silent conversation that spoke volumes. She saw me, she truly saw me, or so I believed. Her eyes seemed to pierce through the layers of my soul. My art, my work, it all seemed to resonate with her on a level no one else had reached. It was as if she understood the very essence of my creations. "You're brilliant," she'd say, her fingers tracing the lines of my latest piece, her touch sending shivers down my spine. "The world needs to see this, feel this," she'd insist, her passion igniting a fire within me. And I, starved for validation, drank in her every word, every compliment, every bit of praise. It was intoxicating, this validation, this feeling of finally being understood, of being seen for who I truly was. But beneath the surface, a seed of doubt began to sprout, a nagging feeling that something wasn't quite right. A tiny voice whispering, "Is this real? Is she?" Questioning the authenticity of her affection. I silenced it, of course, pushing away the doubts, refusing to let them take root. Blinded, as I was, by the light of her supposed affection, I chose to believe in the illusion she created. The compliment started to feel performative. The adoration, a tad too rehearsed, like an actress playing a part she no longer felt. Her attention, once intoxicating, began to feel suffocating. Then came the subtle jabs, the backhanded compliments disguised as concern. "Darling, you really should socialize more, for your own good, of course." A furrow in her brow when I mentioned spending time with old friends. A dismissive wave when I talked about my passions. My once vibrant world started to shrink, revolving solely around her and her whims, and the doubts, once whispers, now roared in my ears. She knew how to reel me back in, just when I thought I could break free. Every time I gathered the strength to walk away, she would find a way to pull me back into her web. A tender touch, a whispered apology, and I was lost again. Her words were like a soothing balm, masking the wounds she had inflicted, drowning in the familiar cycle of hurt and fleeting comfort. Each moment of peace was followed by a storm of emotional turmoil. Like an addict chasing a high, I craved her approval even as it chipped away at my soul. The more I sought her validation, the more I lost myself. "I only want what's best for you," she'd say, her voice laced with faux concern. Her words were a trap designed to keep me ensnared, and I, so desperate to believe her, would convince myself it was true. I clung to the hope that things would change, that she truly cared, ignoring the gnawing emptiness in my chest, the growing resentment in my heart. The cycle continued, push and pull, pain and fleeting relief. Each argument left me more broken, each reconciliation more hollow. This, I realize now, was the insidious trap of trauma bonding. It was a cycle of manipulation and dependency, a dance of pain and false hope. My thoughts, my feelings, my very reality all became distorted under her manipulative gaze. She twisted my words, denied my experiences, made me question my own sanity. "You're being too sensitive," she'd say with a sigh, her eyes rolling skyward. "Or you're imagining things. I would never do that." And the worst part? A small, insidious part of me started to believe her. My self-worth, already fragile, disintegrated under her constant barrage of negativity. I became a ghost, a shell of the man I once was. The silence, once my sanctuary, became a prison. My thoughts, once my companions, now echoed her toxic words. Humor, they say, is the best medicine. And in the depths of my despair, I found a twisted sort of humor in my situation. A dark, sardonic voice inside me would whisper, "Well, at least your life is interesting now, right?" Or, "Congratulations, you've reached a whole new level of self-destruction. Gold star for you. It was a coping mechanism, a way to detach from the pain, to find a sliver of control in a situation that felt utterly hopeless. It was also, I realize now, a sign of just how deeply entrenched in this toxic relationship I had become. Even my humor had become tainted by her influence. The turning point came unexpectedly. A chance encounter with an old friend. He looked at me, really looked at me, and I saw concern, even pity in his eyes. He didn't need words, his silence spoke volumes. That night, the dam broke. Years of suppressed emotions, of silenced truths came pouring out. I cried, I raged, I finally allowed myself to feel the full weight of my pain. And in that raw, vulnerable moment, I knew I couldn't stay. It wasn't easy. There were attempts to reel me back in, promises of change, manipulations disguised as apologies, but this time something was different. This time I saw through the facade. This time I chose myself. The road to healing was long and arduous. Therapy, self-reflection, and countless hours spent in deep thought were all part of the journey. The unwavering support of true friends was a beacon of light in the darkest times. Their laughter, their hugs, and their constant presence were invaluable. It took time, but I slowly began to piece myself back together. Each meditation session, each yoga practice, and each moment of mindfulness helped me rebuild. The scars remain, of course, but they serve as a reminder of my strength, of my resilience. They are not just marks on my skin, but symbols of battles won. The experience taught me the importance of self-love, of setting boundaries, and of understanding my own worth. Journaling became a tool for self-discovery. It also taught me the significance of recognizing red flags before they become chains that bind. Walking away from toxicity was a step towards freedom. It also taught me the insidious nature of narcissistic abuse, how it can creep into your life disguised as love and concern, making you doubt your own reality. Narcissistic abuse can be subtle, often masked by fake smiles and seemingly caring gestures. It makes you question every interaction, every word. And the man of thoughts. He's still here, contemplating, reflecting, and growing, but his silence is no longer a prison. It's a choice to find peace within, to embrace solitude as a friend rather than an enemy, a choice to listen to his own voice, to trust his instincts, and to navigate life's crossroads with confidence, to never again silence his own truth, to express himself freely, to create, to speak, and to live authentically.